Congratulations on the movie, Chris, and
Thank you.
welcome to Singapore.
Thank you.
Filming that Team Cap versus Team Iron Man scene at the airport must be so awesome. I mean, it's like, all the fanboys' expectations coming together on one scene. Talk us through that. How was it like actually being there with all the superheroes all together and filming that scene?
It's exciting. It's exciting knowing you're a part of something special and a part of this kind of history in this superhero cinematic universe. But in a realistic sense,
Yeah.
it's hot.
Yeah.
It's sweaty. it's Atlanta. It's August.
You're all wearing a lot of costume.
Yeah. And it takes a long time. It's 2-3 weeks of filming, so it's a very arduous process. But you're working towards something great.
But was it really like cool? So like looking there and going, okay, he's there and everyone's there.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, luckily I've had some of that experience with the Avengers film,
exactly.
so I've certainly had my share of looking around and seeing other people in costume.
Was it hard to keep a straight face? Because, as we've talked about it, there are a lot of pranksters on a set with us, all of you together, and Anthony Mackie in the fold this time around.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about these movies. Everyone's trying to have a good time. Everyone is there with great spirits. No one's unhappy coming to set.
That's always good to go to work that way, right? Picking up the shield so many times, what do you think you've learned about yourself, Chris Evans, after playing Cap for so many times? Have you learned something new along the way, or?
Yeah, I've had a few little nuggets of revelations.
Wisdom.
Well, yeah, to some degree. To be honest, certain things I may want to keep to myself. I think that's kind of the beautiful part about acting.
Fair
that
enough.
as you play a character, you're going to uncover parts of yourself, and that's a beautiful thing about the character. He's a great man, and he sets the bar very high, and there's no denying that when you play that character every day, you do take pieces of him home with you. But again, some things should stay intimate.
Fair enough. But is there anything that you can share that you find after playing him so many times that it really resonates with you, or you really identify with, whether it's a flaw or a good thing about Cap?
Well, I think to some degree there are a lot of, every time you interact with a child, really, when you meet little kids, they're so inspired to meet you, they're so excited to meet you, and it's such a nice feeling, and you really want to. You hope they like you, not just because your costume's cool or the shield is cool, but you hope they like you because of what he stands for. And in that regard, you really want to try and live up to the ideal that they're aspiring to be. And like I said, it's an honor to kind of embody someone that you play every day, and you hope to take pieces of that home with you. The same way that I grew up looking up to certain people, I would have hoped that those people embodied some of the characteristics that I saw on screen as well.
Yeah, and talking about that, because he's all full of good, I'm sure detractors always will come and tell you, oh, there's so many other superheroes, especially now these days when there's always a flaw, when they kind of have a dark side. Cap is all good. Do they come up and say, you know what, he's the most boring because he's so good?
Is that what they've said to you?
Do they say that to you, or
no,
just Cap is
is that
awesome?
What you're hearing? Is that the word on the street?
That's the word on the Singapore street. No, I'm kidding.
No, hopefully that's not the way they see him. I think he certainly has a certain level of austerity and conviction in his morals and values, and I think that could come across as bland, but I think what separates him is that he shows his compassion.
Yeah.
He shows his weakness. He shows what affects him. I think if you just have a guy who's this strict moral compass, you just have a version of your friend's scary dad. this guy that is a good man, but you're too scared to talk to him. I think with the incarnation of Cap in these movies is that you have him caring, and you have him showing what matters to him, and I think that makes him human.
Yeah. What's the one thing that, you've done this so many times, and I've interviewed you quite a few times as well, but what's the one question you wish is being asked of you or of Cap because, we've asked you so many questions about Cap. If you could be the reporter, what would you like that question to be?
God, I couldn't tell you what I'd want to be asked. I could tell you what I wouldn't want to be asked.
Okay, what's the worst question you've always been? What's the one question you hate?
Well, it's not the question you hate. It's just the question that becomes a little redundant. Is, the workout. You know, how do you what's your workout schedule? It just feels very surface. It feels very disposable, and it feels very inconsequential, really.
Yeah, fair enough. You know how what I love about superhero movies these days, it's really like a mirror to the world we live in. And Joe Russo was talking about that as well. What do you feel about the importance of making a film like that in these dire times that we live in?
Sure. Well, we've always lived in dire times.
That's true.
So hopefully every movie you make has some sort of correlation to the situation we're in, and hopefully every audience member can draw some connection and some identification with the character's struggle and pull something good out of it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Chris.